Welcome to the channel, Cheating Secrets. I entered my house after a 50-kilometer ride on the bike and found my wife sitting at the table with a serious expression on her face. Most men would have a feeling of, oh, shit, but I knew what it was about. It would be very difficult to match her seriousness. "Jack, we need to talk," said Jessie. "May I take a shower first, Jessie? I would prefer to get it over with as soon as possible." Of course, what Jessie prefers was important, but I knew that only increased the level of my sarcasm. I took a glass of iced tea and sat down. "Jack, I know this will hurt you, but I had an affair." "With Mark or with someone else?" "Everyone knows about your affair with Mark, so let me know if it is with someone else." I liked the expression of shock on her face. "It is not with someone else." "What kind of woman do you think I am?" "Oh, Jessie, do you really want me to answer that question? Because it will ruin your little speech that you have been planning all week." The expression of shock appeared on her face again. "Wait a minute, what do you mean, everyone knows?" "Jessie, you are not the sharpest tool in the shed during this whole thing, but I think an elementary school teacher should understand what everyone knows means." Jessie was clearly puzzled. She stared at the script she had prepared, looking for answers that were not there. I tried my best to keep a serious expression on my face and was afraid I would start laughing. "Wait, how long have you known?" "Since the middle of the last school year. I am almost certain that is when your affair with Mark began." "Why did you not say anything?" "We are getting off topic, Jessie. Judging by the papers in your hand, you have something to tell me. But, to answer your question, you had been an incredible bitch to me for many years before this affair even started. I admit, your affair destroyed the little that was left of my love for you and made my lawyer prepare the divorce papers. After I quickly went through a few layers of grief, I realized that your bitchiness had dropped to a tolerable level. More importantly, you left me alone. I also realized that I did not really want to sleep with you anyway. Even before the affair we were no longer making love, and when we were intimate, I wore a condom. You never know what you might pick up from a fallen woman." Now Jessie was truly confused. She barely noticed the insults. "Who else knows?" "That is a very long list, Jessie, and I am sure I do not even know everyone on it. Telegraph, telephone, tell a woman. If you narrow the list down a little, I might be able to help you." "Do the kids know?" "Oh yes, you might have found it sweet, if not for the words they used to describe their mother, a faithless, deceitful woman that I was sitting in the living room watching television when the three of them came in with Stephen as their representative. I was so impressed by the level of care in his prepared speech, he was really worried that I would be devastated. They looked embarrassed when I smiled and told them I already knew. We went to the kitchen and had a great time mocking you over ice cream. The only question they did not have an answer to was, are you really that stupid, or did you think that we are? Did you never notice that they did not talk to you or hug you since you started your affair? But to shorten this part of the conversation, you should assume that everyone we know is aware of your affair, except maybe your parents, whom I have always hated." Tears began to appear in Jessie's eyes, and her hands started to tremble. "You still have a lot written down, Jessie, let us continue, please," I said with a broad grin on my face. She looked at me, and I saw that she was shifting into bitch mode. "All I wanted to tell you is that I decided to end the affair and focus on us." She looked as if, I do not know, maybe I was supposed to fall at her feet and thank her for giving us a second chance. Or that violins or trumpets were supposed to play in the background. She did not understand that looking at her made me feel sick. With a serious expression on my face, and I was serious, I said, "Jessie, I was hoping that in the dying minutes of our marriage, you would show me at least a little respect and be honest with me. Perhaps you no longer remember how to do that. I know you were not planning to end the relationship." "What? How? What do you mean?" "You remember Linda, Mark's wife? We were always friendly, but after your affair started, we became very good friends, but not with benefits. Neither of us wanted to stoop to the level of the cheaters we married. Of course, after meeting you, she no longer felt threatened by your affair. We talked often, and recently she told me that Mark no longer satisfies her in bed. Age was catching up with him, and he could no longer satisfy her, you, and the dozen or so others he was sleeping with. She gave him an ultimatum: if he did not end his relationships with you and the others, she would divorce him and rape him in court. Naturally, he gave in, and that was supposed to be his speech to you on Monday. There was a lot in the little speech, and tears were running down her cheeks. Mark was cheating on me with other women. Yes, that sucks, does it not? Like someone stabbed you in the back. I can understand that. Jessie leaned back, almost falling off the chair. Yes, Mark ended our affair, but I had been thinking about the same thing for a long time. He did not say anything about Linda demanding that we end our affair. I told you what Mark should have told you, but I am afraid I will have to tell Linda, and Mark will end up in even deeper shit. Maybe he will want to restart the affair with you. I had a moment of compassion for Jessie, just a moment. But she was on the edge, and I wanted a knockout blow. It took me very little time to get over the affair, but the pitying looks from other people nearly killed me. That is when I started riding the bike, spending hours alone. You look very depressed, Jessie. Linda and I go to the same psychologist. She is very good. Can I give her your number? You and Linda go to the same psychologist. We do not go together every time. Maybe once every 2 weeks. It gives us a chance to discuss problems with someone neutral in the room. Someone who helps us stay on the same page. There is no and never has been any hostility between us. We really have become good friends and enjoy each other's company, but neither of us would ever cross that line. We respect each other, and ourselves, too much. She is a very beautiful woman, the same age as you, but looks at least 10 years younger. What a step down on Mark's part, to trade Linda for you. I know it was a cheap shot, but I was only just getting started. We discovered that we have many common interests. We have a good time during the morning bike rides. We realized early on that we could sit at home and sulk while our spouses had sex with each other, or we could go out and enjoy life. I assumed that every time you and Mark were having fun with each other, Linda and I were at a movie, dinner, play, or concert. Last month, she had a great time at a Springsteen concert when I managed to get tickets to the company's box. We ended up sitting with the CEO and his wife, who are also big Springsteen fans. Linda and the CEO's wife really liked each other. I had to insert that Jessie loved Springsteen and loved the novelty of sitting in a box and not with the common people in the stands. I wanted her to get a taste of what she had missed. I had accumulated a lot of anger over the year that I wanted to unleash on Jessie, but at that moment, I needed a hot shower. Jessie was still staring at her papers, searching for answers. Anything else, Jessie? I need a shower. Sorry, I am confused. Everything went so differently than I had planned. I have so many questions, and I do not know where to start. One more question, Jessie, and then I am going to the shower. We can talk later if you want. You said you rode the bike with Linda. Jesus, Jessie, that is what you want to know. Yes, almost every time I got on the bike, it was with Linda. She always had a great ass, but the bike rides made her incredibly beautiful. Of course, she says the same about my ass. It is one of those things that make us regret our decision to keep our relationship platonic. Honestly, judging by her ass, I am surprised that Mark preferred you to her. So, why do you not write down all the other questions you have, and we can discuss them later? Also, I will inform the kids about our conversation, so expect a reaction from them, one they have been storing up all of last year. Maybe you should spend some time with your parents and sort out your shit. Maybe tell them what a fucking idiot you are. While I was turning on the water in the shower, I sent my kids a message saying that their mother had made an important discovery this morning. I heard Jessie leave, and I arranged to meet Linda for lunch in an hour. Linda was furious that Mark had not followed her instructions regarding what he was supposed to say to Jessie. We were both using the same lawyer and had prepared divorce papers several months ago. I had delayed because I needed more time to protect myself financially. I wanted Jessie to be served on Monday after school, maybe on her way to the car. Linda was planning to serve Mark in the morning, before classes began. That way, Mark would have a few hours to calm down. I liked that idea. Jessie's and Stephen's cars were in the driveway on Saturday afternoon when I came home after lunch with Linda. They were sitting across from each other at the kitchen table. I caught the end of the speech Stephen had prepared for his mother, and knowing Stephen, I could say that his speech had been well prepared. Jessie was sobbing hysterically. "Is everyone having fun?" I asked, entering the kitchen, pouring myself a glass of iced tea, and joining them at the table. "Hi, Dad," he stood up and hugged me like a bear. That kid was getting stronger and stronger. I just wanted to make sure that Jessie understands she is no longer to have any relationship with me, or with my brothers and sisters, or with any of our close people. We do not want anyone to catch some kind of disease from Jessie, and who knows what she might have now or in the future. Also, she has lost the privilege of being called our mother. "Sorry, but I have to run. Why do not you and Linda come to the barbecue tomorrow?" "I will be there, Stephen, and I will let you know if Linda has any plans." On his way out, he hugged me tightly again. I am not sure whether his emotions played any role, but if he keeps this up, we will have to talk about it. "I did not expect you to come back so soon, Jessie. I forgot my phone, and when I came back I saw you leaving and followed you when you went to lunch with that adulteress." I barely held myself back, and as I began to speak, Jessie started to back away. "Jessie, Linda is far from an adulteress, that is what people call you, and quite deservedly so. I am trying to be sincere, and do you really want to keep insulting the friend who helped me survive the despair your affair threw me into? Am I being clear?" "Sorry, Jack, this day has just been horrible, everything went wrong, nothing went the way I planned. I wanted to hit someone. You have no idea what I felt, watching you two. It should have been me sitting across from you. Jessie, you are fucking insane. What do you think I felt every time I saw you with Mark, knowing he was sleeping with you? I am sure what you felt pales in comparison to the pain I went through." Jessie started crying again, and I left the kitchen to go watch television. She was looking for sympathy from me, and she did not get it. During her affair, her friends started to turn on her. Any woman who was cheating with a married man was seen as a threat to their marriages. I am not sure if her parents or her siblings ever knew about it. To begin with, she was never close with her brothers and sisters. At the beginning of our relationship, I tried my best to be friendly with her parents, but that ended when they ignored Stephen's birth. A few hours later, I came into the kitchen to make something for dinner. Making dinner had become normal for me, because I never knew when Jessie would be busy with her buddy. She was still sitting at the kitchen table, looking almost numb. She looked at me as I pulled out the frying pans. "I was going to bake a pie for dinner." "Really? I cannot remember the last time you cooked a meal that I ate. Is this part of your focus on US? Because I want to make it completely clear, you must truly be an idiot to think that you can spend a year having sex with another guy, and that when you are done, there will be an US. I changed my mind. Cook whatever you want, I am going out to eat somewhere. Can I go with you?" I laughed, shaking my head. "I no longer want to be seen in public with you, that would be so awkward. I would not want anyone to get the impression that I took you back." Jessie was crying when I left, and I realized I was not actually hungry. Not far away, about a mile from the parking lot, there was a hill with a beautiful view. It was a great place to clear my head, and I headed there. I was surprised to see Linda there. "Sorry to bother you, Linda, I did not know you were here." "Jack, seeing you is wonderful. Sorry I gave Mark that ultimatum. Now he kisses my ass 24/7. He played dumb when he got the order about Jessie. Everything was supposed to stay as it was. They would have left it all alone, and then. I do not know. I am having second thoughts. There were advantages to the status quo, but now Jessie is crying at my kitchen table. wanting to focus on us, as if after a year of sex we could reconcile. She followed me to the restaurant and saw us having lunch. She actually told me how much it hurt her that she was not the one sitting at the table with me. I must be in some kind of twilight zone. I feel the same way, Jack, because of the shit that comes out of Mark's mouth. Almost every time he says something, I am left stunned. Jack, I thank God that I have you in my life, a rock of sanity to hold on to. I worry about what will happen to us after our spouses are served on Monday. Our relationship is based on the fact that our spouses were cheating on each other. Linda, I am forced to strongly disagree with your last statement. Our cheating spouses may have caused our relationship, and maybe I misunderstand what this relationship is, but it has grown into something much more. And it is this relationship that saved my sanity. Then again, men misunderstand signals all the time, but I pray that after Monday, we will have a relationship. I am not sure what it will look like, but I will be happy as long as you are in my life. Linda turned to me and kissed me. It was our first kiss, and then hugged me. Sorry for crossing the line, Jack. No, Linda, but I am not going to respond, because once I let off the brakes, I might not be able to stop. We are so close to the finish line. I am glad you have brakes. This is how our relationship works, we support each other when we need it. And I almost forgot, Stephen, in Jesse's presence, invited us to tomorrow's dinner, and that was right after he told her that the three of them no longer consider her their mother and that she should not have any contact with them. I would love to have dinner with you. All this time we have spent together, and we have never mentioned our children. It would be great to meet them. We need to figure something out with my son and daughter. Let me call Stephen and ask if we can make it +2 tomorrow, or if it will be +3 or 4. Let it be +3. My daughter recently broke up with her last boyfriend. He, of course, was cheating on her. Stephen and his wife were thrilled about the +3 event. Linda's children were a little more reserved, but they agreed to come. Stephen was the only one who had met Linda before. We were in a restaurant when Stephen and his wife walked in. I introduced them to each other, and then I called Stephen and told him about our friends with no benefits relationship. He said nothing, but his voice sounded much calmer. He called me back a few minutes later and apologized for judging my relationship, and said that despite all the shit Jesse had pulled, I deserved someone in my life, even if it came with no benefits. I know he told his brothers and sisters about it because they constantly joked about whether I was getting any benefits. The dinner was wonderful. It seemed like everyone was delighted, especially my youngest, David, and Linda's daughter. The two of them monopolized each other's time, and I know they already had plans for the following weekend. I knew that Monday morning promised to be shitty, and I sent Linda a message: whatever happens today, I really want us to be together when everything settles down. Jack, I cannot help but agree that hope is perhaps the only thing helping me get through this. I am so glad that David and Lisa got along yesterday. All the way home it was David this, David that. I have not seen her that happy in a long time. Mark was furious last night when there was no dinner on the table, and I thought he would have a nervous breakdown when he found out we were having dinner with you and your family. I took Monday off, not knowing how Jesse or Mark would react. Jessie flew up the driveway right after being served and rushed into the house so fast that she did not even notice the "for sale" sign on the front lawn. What the hell, Jack? I said I ended my affair because I wanted to focus on us, and you served me divorce papers in front of my coworkers. Do you have any idea how embarrassed I was? Let us break that sentence down, Jessie. First of all, it was not you who ended the relationship, it was your cowardly lover. Second, I told you there would never be an us after you spent the last year sleeping with Mark. Third, all your coworkers knew you were sleeping with Mark, so I do not know what you were embarrassed about. Maybe they were laughing at you for getting what you deserved. Jessie lowered her head and collapsed into a chair. So, what now, Jack? I suggest you hire a lawyer and ask them to review the divorce papers. I am afraid there will not be much property to divide. I was incredibly depressed when you got together with Mark and started gambling. Of course, I began with a big win and then lost almost everything else. Linda saved me and connected me with the organization, Gamblers Anonymous. That and her counselor saved the college tuition payments for the child. At the same time you got involved with Mark, I was laid off and lost my job. Thanks to my severance pay and temporary work, I managed to keep us from bankruptcy, but my severance ran out last week. I am afraid there will be no alimony for you, most likely, you will owe me. God, Jack, what a mess you made. Jesse, all this shit started when you got involved with Mark. If that had not happened, I would never have started gambling and would not have walked around like a zombie during the company reorganization. You created this. This is not mine. I am going to pack my things and stay with my parents. I cannot believe you just threw away 23 years. Considering you spent the last year sleeping with Mark, that would make it 22 years, and I think the world would agree that you threw them away the moment you first spread your legs for Mark. Go to hell, Jack, just go to hell. Jessie came downstairs half an hour later, dragging a suitcase behind her. Can you help me with this, Jack? I carried the bag to her car and tossed it into the trunk. By the way, Jessie, next month the lease on your car expires, and I will not be renewing it, and your mobile phone plan is ending too. Without severance pay, I simply cannot afford it. Go to hell, Jack, I do not need you. Then she saw the "for sale" sign, and her eyes lit up as if she saw diamonds. I have the right to half the proceeds when you sell our house, right? If it were our house, you would be right, but it was never our house. It was my grandparents' house, owned by a trust, and I was allowed to live here. As soon as I move out, the house must be sold, and the proceeds go back into the trust. Go to hell, Jack. I felt quite smug. Years of financial planning had paid off. An experienced attorney with qualified forensic expertise might be able to track where the money went, but I had well-documented gambling losses that would be hard to dispute, even if the actual losses were minimal. But as far as I knew, Jessie did not have the money to hire an experienced lawyer or a forensic accountant. I sent Linda a message telling her the main events of my morning. She said that Mark came home at lunchtime and said he was very sorry that everything ended the way it did. Then he packed up all his things and left. I do not even know which is better, she wrote. Your relationship ended with a small explosion, and mine, with a barely audible whimper. While we were texting, the new mattress I had ordered was already delivered, and new bed linens were lying in the trunk of my car. Why do you not come to dinner tonight, Linda, and start our new life together? Let us go out to eat somewhere, Jack. I bought a beautiful dress especially for this evening and I cannot wait for people to see me in it on your arm. This is our first party. And by the way, I brought a bag with me in case you take that dress off of me. To hell with waiting in line. Thank you for being with us. And if you're one of those who watches silently, just leave a like, it helps new stories come to light.